Hello everybody, Disciple here with Hearthstone Curios. Now, although a lot of people are happy with Ngoro's format diversity and pretty fresh gameplay, there are a lot of complaints about one deck in particular, and that's Quest Rogue, or Caverns Rogue as it's sometimes called. The deck is just really fast and kills the opponent very quickly without what seems like a lot of counterplay, except maybe Dirty Rat. It has both good reach in the late game and nutty draws that can kill super early if you can finish the quest by turn 3 or 4. But I'm not here to complain about it, instead I'd rather seize the opportunity, and that's why today we thought we'd give you guys a quick guide to Quest Rogue, so let's get right into it. Starting off, we have a couple deck lists. One is Dog's original rank 1 legend list, and the other is a pretty popular list by Misplaced Sock, which is kind of the budget version of the deck. Dog made his list and hit rank 1 legend with it at the very start of the meta, so Misplaced Sock's list is probably a little bit better suited to what the meta has become now. Still, rank 1 legend's no joke, and both versions actually play a little bit differently, so it's worth trying out both to see which one suits your own playstyle better if you have the cards for both. Now, like I mentioned, Misplaced Sock's version is definitely the budget version since Dog was playing things like Edwin Van Cleef, but because Patches, Caverns, and Prep are all core cards to the deck, 5,000 dust is about as low as you can really go to get a playable list for Caverns Rogue. Now, mulliganing with Quest Rogue isn't incredibly difficult since you're always keeping the Caverns below, but it is matchup dependent and pretty variable, so let's go over a few things. Swashbuckler and Novice Engineer are generally some of the cards you want to keep in your opening hand, since they both give you cards off of their battle cry, and so ideally are what you're going to be bouncing to get your Caverns to go off, since once you complete the quest, you still have more fuel in your hand to continue playing, and they can even give you answers to your opponent's minions. For example, if you're playing up against a priest, you can Swashbuckler a Silence and then take care of their giant creature they've used Divine Spirit and Inner Fire on. The Novice Engineer is especially good for this since it allows you to bounce it to draw into more bounce, such as drawing out your Shadow Steps or your Youthful Brewmasters, and that lets you combo off super quick. Swashbuckler also has the added bonus of pulling out your Patches from your deck, which allows you to match up against aggro decks a lot better in the early game. That being said, if you get a starting hand with multiple Fireflies or Igneous Elementals, you can definitely just keep that since it's a pretty good way to free roll into a fast Crystal Core. Bounce effects are fine to keep if you already have something good to bounce, but otherwise it's a lot more important to pick up your Swashbuckler, Novice Engineer, or something that spawns Flame Elementals. Beyond that, your mulligans have to be pretty matchup dependent. For example, Mimic Pod is great to keep against slower decks, since it makes you combo quite a bit faster, but it's not great against aggro decks that are killing you while you cast your draw spells. On the other hand, things like Bilefin or Fan of Knives, depending on which version you're playing, can be good against aggro, but are bad keeps against something like Taunt Warrior. Do your best to think about your opponent's game plan and adapt your mulligans accordingly. Now, as far as matchups go, Quest Rogue generally follows a pretty simple formula. It's really strong against slower decks, and not so great against hyper-aggressive decks like Pirate Warrior. Now, there are a few exceptions. For example, Freeze Mage is actually quite strong against Quest Rogue, but overall it beats out slow decks and it has a harder time against fast ones. Now, this might not sound super impressive because of the matchups, but the reason people are even playing hyper-aggressive decks, like Pirate Warrior again, is just to beat Quest Rogue, since before Quest Rogue was really discovered, people were trying out a lot of slow decks and were just getting beat up on. Now, you can definitely tech in things like Fan of Knives or Backstabs into Misplaced Socks versions to make it even better against aggro, but you're potentially sacrificing off some of the combo speed and control matchups, so it's a give or take either way. Now, here are some helpful tips and tricks for playing Quest Rogue. Choose what you're going to bounce and combo with early on and stick with it, since if you split your bounces in between multiple minions, you might not be able to finish the quest. And don't replay whatever you are bouncing if you're not going to bounce it again that turn or finish your quest, because otherwise it could get killed and then you're stuck at 2 or 3 minions played with a minion you can't get any more copies of. Another tip is that if you're playing against a deck that can run Dirty Rat like Taunt Warrior, try and hold as many random minions as you can in your hand, since if they do pull your combo minion or a bounced minion out before you finish your Caverns quest, you can get slowed down a lot, if not just completely ruined. Tip 3 is that, in general, try and save prep for Crystal Core, unless it's really awful not to, like you're going to die if you don't prep out a Fan of Knives. Prepping Crystal Core lets you make all of your minions 5/5s the turn that you go off, instead of having to wait, and that makes an immense difference, since you can already have minions out on the board and they're much harder to deal with. If you're going to lose if you don't prep and vanish or prep and fan, then obviously do that, but don't prep Mimic Pod on turn 1 and then be upset when all of your minions get killed before you can play Crystal Core because you're spending the full 5 mana on it on turn 5. Next, count lethal very carefully once you've gone off, and remember that you can bounce your charge minions over and over again to attack with, so make sure that you're doing the math and not missing out an obvious win. Remember that 5 attack can add up very quickly, since even if your opponent's at full, you can even kill them with 4 minions as long as you've got a couple Stone Tusk Boars and maybe some Shadow Steps or Youthful Brewmasters. Now finally, when you start playing the deck, you're going to lose quite a few of your initial games anyway, since it's actually a pretty hard deck to master. So make sure that you're trying new things, interesting strategies, and testing all the interactions every game, because experience is definitely the quickest way to learn to play any Hearthstone deck correctly. Now that should be pretty much everything you need to know to get a quick start playing Quest Rogue. But I want to know how you guys feel about the deck. Do you think it's completely broken? Do you think it's fair? Or do you guys shit on it every game? I definitely had a lot of problems playing against it, but I have had a lot of fun playing as it, and I definitely know there are ways to counter it, so I figure the meta will probably find a way to balance it before it just becomes way too strong and Blizzard needs to step in and nerf it. Anyway, that's going to be it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.